Time for the second game of the night's quarterfinal match between Steve Biggs Cookies and Alsomniac. Now with one more win, SBC and his Cookies will advance to the semifinals and virtually guarantee themselves a spot in the Challenger Series postseason.
Yeah, and game one was a back-and-forth slugfest. Early game belonged to Steve's top laner, Renekton, on Steve. Other way around, Steve on Renekton. And Belgian Beast's Ziggs in the mid lane. And then in the mid-game, it belonged to Riddick's Draven and Lasagna's Eve. Even though Alsomniac lost, Riddick's had a great game on Draven, going 11-3-5. And with stats like that, you wouldn't think that was from the team.
The losing team.
Exactly, the team that gave up a game. But it just goes to show that Draven's extremely strong and will continue to be contested throughout this series.
Yeah.
But in the end, it was the Belgian Beast Ziggs that turned out to be the game-changing pick. And he ended it with 60 more 3S, 63 more CS than anyone else in the game, and a KDA of 7, 2, and 12.
Yeah.
I don't know if Ziggs will be banned this game. It's kind of one of those bans that you don't put a priority on when there's so much more that's threatening.
Yeah.
I would say Draven is probably going to be a red side ban from Alsomniac this game because you can't let Matroko have that. And they banned the Zilean previously, and I'm curious as to whether or not that is the linchpin in the strategy. Like if that would have been, they would have played Zilean with Lucian, or if they will only pick Zilean with a Draven. I'm not sure.
I feel like I've seen Zilean in enough different teams. Like we saw Millennium play. Yeah, Jerry plays a couple of times. So that's the kind of champion you can actually play into multiple sort of compositions. It's just a strong pick. It certainly works well with Draven, right? Same with Lulu. Like you haste the Draven, makes him easy to chase people down. That's wonderful and fine. But I'm thinking about the bans. I think Vi definitely. I think you definitely, if you're Alsomniac, you get rid of SBC's Vi, or you pick it for yourself and hope it's not first picked. Although I think that's too big of a risk to allow them to first pick that and crush your mid laner again.
Do you leave both Draven and Vi open?
No.
So that they get Draven and you get Vi?
I don't see. So
or do you make them prioritize?
If you're Alsomniac, Draven's not a big enough priority, I don't think. I think it's a good champion and fine, but I don't think that's the hugest priority, especially not as a ban because you can play it so well. I hate banning one of your own strong champions, just risking the first pick. I think that's wasteful. So I think the Cassin ban comes through as standard for red side. I think the Vi ban has to come through because that dunked the mid lane so hard and when the team fights so hard on SBC's favor. And then I think you got to consider maybe we put the Zilean ban back through again. Maybe we remove the Gragas ban that they did, again, maybe another mid laner ban. But I think SBC have shown that Belgian Beast, even when banned a little bit, still a very strong player. That's something that you kind of say, kind of no matter what, you're going to do well.
That's true. He's very consistent.
Yeah.
And all across his games, round of 20, round of 10, did a fantastic job. And now we see him round of 8, stepping up to the plate, saying not only can Matroko
carry games,
so can I.
Yeah, he's done a very good job of it.
And he was Kale previously, supporting Matroko from the mid lane. And he did do a lot of damage in the late game back in the round of 10. But in the round of 8, really just, man, BB did not have a good game against the duo of Carbonite and Belgian Beast.
No, he didn't. So now I think you kind of come through here and you look at the duo lane, and honestly, the 2v2 is going to be interesting. I think it did hold pretty equally early on. It was broken by a couple of good ganks. The early game was a lot on Lasagna making that happen. I think he gets a lot of the credit for starting the Draven train rolling, and then Riddick gets credit for keeping it going and not putting on the brakes. Yeah. So we'll see if actually just cutting off Lasagna can keep SBC in a better spot too.
Yeah. That's very possible. Carbonite, you saw he has a very aggressive playstyle, and he's not afraid to clear out the side lanes as a jungler.
Yeah.
We saw that constantly, and he actually almost paid for it for his entire team.
Yeah, nearly lost game 1 by getting picked.
That was so close.
If not for super minions, if not for the inhibitor being dead, I think that probably could have been an Alsomniac game with just a straight up the top or mid lane push.
Yeah, and they got so many back-to-back Barons just because SBC didn't have that objective control, and that blew me away. I was sitting there like, okay, your jungler's dead, they're going to pick it up, and then they pick it up again, so it just kept Alsomniac in the game for at least 25 minutes at that point.
Yeah, it did. So we'll see what these guys do. And actually, I'm totally wrong on bans, by the way. So actually, blue side Kassadin ban. I didn't realize Belgian Beast wasn't really a Kassadin player, or didn't just want it in general. Jack still banned away from Morsu. To be fair, Morsu had very low impact that game on Shyvana, so keep the same bans going. Actually, SBC banning Vi themselves, so they are targeting Lasagna's champion pool with a Vi ban and probably a jungle first pick.
They have something else in mind here
for
their first pick. Aside from Draven, aside from Vi, Pantheon banned away again. Don't want the Baker. to have that guy on his side. So I'm actually very curious to see what Steve Bakes Cookies picks up here as a first pick. It could be the Zilean. Or
Kha'Zix. That's the other jungler that Carbonite's played so far here.
That's true. His Pantheon. He was a Lee Sin main back in Season 2. But that is a flex pick because Belgian Beast can play that too.
Yeah, true.
But this doesn't show a lot of their hand. It could be a jungler, which would be a safer pick, right?
Sure.
Because then there isn't really much that counters it in the jungle. In the mid lane, there are some things that do really well against it. You can go ahead and like pick something like LeBlanc to lock him up.
Sure.
2 chains him in a fight, silence him so he can't jump away or reset. But BB, his champion pool, he has the Syndra, he has the Kha'Zix, which is another reason that this is a good pick. We'll have to see what they pick for BB.
See where they go with this one. Honestly, I like the fact that Insomniac are looking at Lulu right now, because Lulu with a Kha'Zix is a crazy good composition. It kind of bridges the fact that you've got a squishy jungler and lets you kind of protect him and say, well, you're big now, you can make this all happen. So Insomniac locking that pick away from Belgian Beast is good. It's going to probably go to Masterwork again. The Nocturne coming through here for Lasagna, though, is a new one. We've normally seen him as a counter pick to Pantheon specifically, because you can kind of jump in once he jumps in and kind of counter gank that.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's blind picking it with so many other junglers available is very interesting to me.
So they immediately lock in Renekton for Steve.
Yep.
Signature champion here. He's played it so much throughout this tournament. And then the Lucian from Matroko. Had a good showing on that.
Yeah.
Didn't lose lane too hard, but it was against a Draven, which is just such a lane bully here. So he's going to pick that up for himself. No support showing just yet. Once again, it's very well-rounded composition. Probably a Kha'Zix in the jungle. And they're going to wait to hold off on their pick for their mid laner. But on Insomniac, not the same.
This is interesting to me. I'm surprised they would show a mid laner this early for Insomniac, because they already know what's top. And so they're waiting for something special top lane, unless it's Nocturne top, which, like, I have seen, though I doubt heavily. I'm just confused. Like, I'm surprised they would grab Ori so early, unless they thought that was going to be something Belgian Beast would play here.
Yeah, I'm a little confused by that. Actually, I'm really confused by that, to be honest, because if you pick that Orianna so early, I mean, there's a wombo combo there somewhere.
There is. I mean, Ori, Nocturne, Lulu is great. I like the champions. It's a great synergy, but they showed it so early.
Yeah, which allows Belgian Beast to play whatever he wants, and if the Kha'Zix was a flex pick, then they really get to flex it as much as they want. I mean, they already showed who their top laner was. It was Renekton.
And they did carry.
And Insomniac decided not to pick their own top laner into that, and instead wait for this to round out. And they're hovering over Belgian Beast Ziggs once again, and they were going to look like they're going to go for the Zilean, but maybe I was right about the Zilean Draven combo. They're going to go with Annie Lucian for that early game bully and stun somebody, just pow pow.
I like it.
So powerful.
Yeah.
Trading potential is huge early on.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Against
so
the Jinx. Oh yeah.
See what they can do. So now, see what Insomniac goes for in this one. I want to know what happens here, because Morsu lost his lane. So if you're saying, okay, we're going to run like utility support bot lane, protector support bot lane specifically, protector support, like half support mid, it's like you need damage somewhere else. Nocturne, I've seen offensive Nocturne builds, though not very much. They tend to start going tanky pretty early. So your damage has to come from your AD carry, which they have with Riddick, but they need more. Now, Morsu lost his lane last time. If you're relying on him for your other damage source, that is risky, because you're fighting Steve on Renekton, who just crushed that lane last time, and you're setting yourself up for a very risky top lane phase, and someone that you're relying on here for Insomniac. They have a release in the entire time that does go through, and I want to see which way this goes. Most likely top Lee Sin, but I unfortunately don't know the player's champion pools that well.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with Morsu. I believe that might be a rename from his live name Sleeping, where we'd seen previously. And he's a very aggressive top laner. He plays Jax, Riven, Aurelia, Lee Sin also in that pool.
Sure.
So almost like a Zion Spartan type top laner.
Yeah.
Doesn't really buy into the whole tanky bruiser meta.
Not necessarily.
I'm going to try to crush you early game. But Renekton's such an early game bully against a Lee Sin, it's going to be difficult to try and get an edge in this lane.
Yeah. And Nocturne's not even like the best early ganker either.
Yeah.
I mean, Kha'Zix is okay. He's like an okay ganker. Like he's not like Shyvana jungle where you're like, I don't care. So, you know, Nocturne and Kha'Zix can both do something here. Lee Sin, not. I mean, we'll see if he gets babysat, right? We did see a decent number against top early on in the game. For Morsu, they went kind of half and half, but looks like it is top lane Lee Sin, and it's going to be a lot on his shoulders to be the damage output here. It's a very weird comp from Insomniac.
Yeah, they're really. I don't know if they're pulling out all the stops or just pulling out the weird stops and trying to take you off guard if you're Steve Bakes Cookies.
Yeah.
Steve Bakes Cookies.
There you go.
I'm like, Steve,
it's just fun to say.
Steve Bakes Cookies.
You smile every time you say the team name.
Insomniac is a really good one, too.
Yeah. But that's more like a cackle and a grin. He's like, Insomniac, ha!
I can't sleep because I'm so awesome. It's Insomniac.
And why not when you got video games to play like League of Legends? Speaking of which, it's good and late in the day here in Europe as well. So these guys keeping their Insomnia going. Keeping themselves into the game here. It's going to be a best of 3. Of course, game 1 already went to SBC. So see if they can make it a 2-0, go to the semis.
It's a really long game, that first game, too.
Yeah, 45-ish minutes.
Really drawing it out with their awesomeness, keeping you up.
So here we go. Doran's Blade opener for Lee Sin on Morsu. Doran's Shield, interestingly enough, for Steve. So we normally see Blade openers from Renekton. They're usually the bully laners here. But apparently he's not reading the matchup this way. Also got to point out Masterwork opening up with Ancient Coin versus Doran's Ring here for Yarrow. So gigantic combat stat advantage for the SBC bottom lane.
Yeah, it's that Doran's Ring, which we see people like Afromu bring in on that Annie early on for their harassment. Also has a little bit of extra AP tucked away in there too. Has starting with 24, so he's got 9 coming from masteries and
9 offense, I'm guessing.
And I think a little bit from runes too, because that wouldn't give you 9.
Not quite.
He'd have a little bit extra.
Bring me more flesh.
And Insomniac, they're looking for something here. They're all sitting in that bush. So in the meantime, the composition that Steve Bakes Cookies has is very similar to what they ran last game, except their bottom lane has a little bit more initiation power with a point and click, and now they have resets and a huge threat from the jungle. It's going to be squishy once again. Maybe even a little squishier, actually. Vi has some defensiveness built into her passive, and the fact that it really goes into her building giant belt items, whereas Kha'Zix's not so much. Relies on resets and evolved wings. But this composition is going to be very similar to the way it was last time. But now there's a synergy here, because you can poke people out, engage, and then people will be about half HP, and it's an AoE poke, too.
True.
Which is the best thing for Kha'Zix.
Absolutely.
Getting those resets and allowing yourself to get even more off of people who are already half HP is huge. Because if you just poke one person down, it's just one and done. You're out of there. So he'll have his pick of the litter. And Insomniac's team composition, there's a wombo combo here somewhere, like I said.
Yeah. Nocturne and Lee Sin can go in pretty hard. And Orianna Lulu going to be happy to help them here.
And then maybe a Super Mega Death Rocket on top of it. But
yeah, why not?
You're going to have Lee Sin in the top lane, and he's building damage, is what it looks like so far from that start. He's going to try to look to bully early on. And that's a risky move. It's very risky.
Well, they're down 0-1. You might as well take risks at this point. They played their comfort picks last time, and it didn't work out for these guys. So a new look here for Insomniac. Can they make it happen? Early push does come in here for the Jinx Lulu lane of Insomniac. Of course, these teams switching sides from last game. Annie going for the poke there on Yarrow. And there we go. Level 2 comes in first. Insomniac not going to get much off of that. They're going to push into the turret. SBC forced to last hit under their turret for this one. Blitzwing is hitting level 3 as well.
So this dynamic in the bottom lane is a little different than most, because Jinx has a range advantage when she's in her fish bones.
Yeah.
But Lucian has so much trade potential early on, and Jinx is pretty much purely an auto attack champion.
True.
And
the other build is very hard to land.
Yeah, exactly. And in the heat of the moment in a fight, Zap is more of an initiation chase tool than it is an in-combat thing, whereas Lucian is like piercing light over and over again.
True.
Throw out my Ardent Blaze. Very spell slinger style.
Yes, he is.
And he can come out on top of these trades, but we do see an early CS advantage here for Jinx, which is typically something you don't see in this matchup. But it's because of Masterwork and the defensive Lulu that he's able to get this little edge.
They've got the push. They've pushed in. They've made minions die to the turret that haven't been CS there by Matroko. So far that has worked out for the Insomniac duo lane. They're keeping the shove going. They don't have much ward coverage to spot out for a Carbonite gank, but it hasn't come in yet anyway, so they're safe.
And there was like a weird cannon minion off on the side who was just having a vacation in the jungle.
Yeah, they pulled it to get it out of turret aggro range.
Which is really good.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're support, always do that.
Yes.
If your guy isn't back to lane, your ADC, just pull it up and away from the turret so they don't miss any CS. But up top, there's so much bullying back and forth. Both of them sub 50% HP right now. And Kha'Zix sitting mid. BB doesn't see him.
All right, there we go. Damage coming across. Flash goes in time. Carbonite did get his Q. The shield from BB keeps him alive here, but down to half. Lasagna looking for the gank. Of course, they know the jungler was already mid.
Yeah, they ping him. They saw him with that ward when he retreated. They see that he's actually going to try to wrap around top.
Ooh, they thought he would go there and rating try for him, but they're not going to spot him, though. That would have been so smart if it worked, but Carbonite just goes for the steal.
Now he's sticking mid because he knows BB doesn't have flash anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's a kill waiting to happen if he can close that distance. And now Steve getting a little comfortable in the top lane. But Nocturne's ganks, like we said, pre-6. Not that impactful, but here, now Lasagna comes.
Oh, man. He's and
oh, no, he sees.
Carbonite. Yeah, Lasagna walked by a ward.
Lasagna goes away.
Gets cut off by Belgian Beast. This is not good for this poor Nocturne. Gonna go for the fear, gonna get knocked away. Damage coming across. Look at the shield coming in, but the ignite is there. Will they chase? 250 health left. Nope, gonna back off of this one, but so far, twice now, better end of the deal for SBC. Ignite on a Masterwork as well. This game is going so much in SBC's favor early on. Mid, jungle, and bottom just got big swings.
And because they poked the jungler out, Carbonite can go ahead and roam around a little bit. All potions used. Looking down bottom, he's just going to poke out and see if there's like a lucky pick, but no lucky picks.
Nothing to
Lulu
find.
went back.
Yep, nothing to find there. Recall already comes through. Riddick's good ward there. Puts it down, spots the Kha'Zix. Carbonite wasting a little bit of time. Both junglers, though, I got to say, equal CS for these guys, so similar items will come through for both of these.
So top and mid, speaking of items, have backed Pickaxe from Morsu and Chalice of Harmony for BB. Wasn't able to buy that last time he was forced back early. But Morsu, straight damage, rushing a Tiamat, I would assume, for the wave clear on Lee Sin, and trying to just go even with Renekton. But back and forth, we saw their early damage is equal. Riddick's taking a lot of damage again.
He's getting lower and lower, has barrier and flash, but his health bar, he's one spell rotation from dying if he doesn't barrier it. There he goes, and it does get picked up. Yarrow surprises him with the damage. Shield doesn't come in time. First blood.
I was sitting there like, he could just flash
He can
kill
just
him.
die. He does it.
And was not expecting the Incinerate as opposed to the Disintegrate, because the Q has a travel time on it. You would have seen that coming.
Yeah.
The flash W is instantaneous.
Much
And look
smarter
at this.
choice. Level 6 first for Steve. Not good for Morsu. Pushing him away.
They also both bought Pickaxe.
Yeah.
And now you're just seeing the sustain of a Renekton overpower this Lee Sin, finally getting 6.
Yeah. I mean, it was level 6. It was the all-in.
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
was
you
the 6.
can't fight me. Denied a lot of minions by doing
Oh,
that.
it was
Masterwork.
alone.
He's not in a good spot. Flashes. Shield goes on. Can he get away? The flash in. Not enough damage. Carbonite with the Q. Taking it down. Ignite is on him. Matroko getting chased. Has to flash away from the zap. There was a Nocturne coming on the other side of the wall. Carbonite not in a good spot. The Fear Tether comes down. Riddick's trying to stay alive. Getting away from the bomb. He does. Flash from Lasagna. Lands the Q. 2 kills picked up. Riddick's going to like that one a lot. Can Lasagna chase down for much more? He is 5 to Belgian Beast 6. Spell Shield comes down. and he is around. Shield comes in, keeping Lasagna alive just barely. He's not going to find much more, or can he? Looks like it's going to be the disengage. 2 for 2 overall in the game.
Very sloppy and overextended fight there by SBC going beyond the turret. Matroko did not need to be there. Gives up a kill. Gives up a get excited to Riddick's, so he can change his direction because he had a little bit of hesitation with the bomb. Then he just follows that fight out. And 2 kills going over to Osomniac. In a great capitalization there. So you got to give credit to them too. Because even though SBC did a little bit of a misplay, it's the capitalization from Osomniac that really paid off, and the fact that they were able to collapse onto that fight.
Absolutely. So Osomniac not down and out of this game. And I was like, man, with Riddick's kind of failing that flash stun play and not getting the barrier out. Oh, actually the fight going in. Look at the damage. Steve is gonna go down. Morsu answering the questions from game 1, making it happen. Uh-oh.
Oh.
He's got a ward. Flashes, jumps to a minion. Nicely done.
He had evolved wings too. So he would have been able to close that distance a little earlier if he had just leaped, but it was on cooldown. Because he used it to get there.
Yeah, just now did leap come up. Okay, so, hold on, they're pushing mid. This game is too fast for us to talk about things that are going on outside of what's on the screen. So I was worried about Riddick's, because after he failed the barrier under his turret, I was like, man, that's rough. But he completely turned it around. This team is looking still good, Osomniac.
And they're going after Carbonite here. Not going to get anything for it. And Morsu's actually different than Sleeping. He's a new guy.
Yeah.
And he's stepping up to the plate on this one.
Yeah, this time around. Had a very rough game one. Making it happen here. In the second game, it's going to be Boots picked up. And another Doran's item for Steve off his unfortunate death. We'll see if Morsu can get his team out done anytime soon. Lasagna level 6. Gonna grab his red buff. Blue is still on the map. 9.5 minutes in, they haven't finished their second jungle rotations here on either side.
There's been so much action.
Yeah, of course.
All across the map. And bottom lane, a lot of attention there. The rotation was good. Picked up an assist for himself. And so, Carbonite, his attention was drawn top, and now he's making the rotation. And bottom will be in his sight. But these mid laners, it's not as aggressive as it was previously. They're both kind of passive farm wave clearers. And then gank and team fight oriented. But yeah, so we'll probably see some dragon fights just explode when people want to contest that.
Yeah.
And the Nocturne is 6. Lasagna's looking for something now with the Paranoia.
There it is.
Carbonite's here too, though.
Ooh.
This
All right.
is all going to depend on the positioning. Tibbers available. Stun is up.
No flash for either support.
Somebody just needs to cross that invisible line where they've overextended.
See if we can find it. Yarrow looks in from the side. They go in for Riddick. There comes the Nocturne onto Yarrow. Will they kill the Annie in time? Riddick, low on health, does have barrier. He's going to get out. Yarrow falls down. Actually, barrier, I take it back, is down. Carbonite falls as well. Double kill here for the Nocturne, and Riddick survives. No! No! Wrong way! You were fine! No, Riddicks, no!
Carbonite was like an inch away. Because he didn't evolve his Taste Their Fear, his Q, he had the evolved wings. If he had gotten the kill, he would have been able to jump out. But they give up 2 kills for 1 there because of the Mega Inferno bomb.
So close.
So close. He had barrier too, but I don't know if it would have been enough. Doesn't even risk it. And now the Dragon's going to go over to Insomniac, but Belgian, he might have something to say about this.
No, he just killed the AD carry. Gets the Hex down a little early. All right, good. That was good by Lasagna. He waited knowing there's only so much burst. Smited a little bit late just to guarantee he got it. I like that.
It's good. We've seen that Lasagna, I think that's the first Dragon that Insomniac actually got in an early game.
Yeah.
Because they kept going over to SBC.
Yeah, they did.
In the first game. So this is a good sign for them that they're able to wrestle some Dragon control and actually get this objective in the early game. Because they weren't early. They weren't previously. And now Carbonite on that very aggressive jungler that isn't very tanky, and he isn't going to get any tankier, having to deal with Lasagna, who's having a great showing on Nocturne. 3-0-1.
Oh my gosh. 3-0-1. Grabs the Lizard Elder here and is going towards Aegis. So early damage, then a tanky build. See if that pans out well for Lasagna here, adding some team support. Tiamat's done for the top laners. Lizard Elder done on Carbonite as well.
Ooh, it's a repeat
Good
visit
timed
bot.
ward.
They don't get it.
Yep. Troko though, a little bit low. Good dodge on the slow. Gonna get out from this one. Hex onto Yarrow. Oh, the re-engage though onto Riddicks. The damage is gonna be massive. Barrier not even going to matter. That was a bit over-aggressive.
He has leap again. If he can close that distance and get the slow.
Here we go. Puts the slow down from the auto attack Q as well, but here comes Lasagna. Does he have enough to dig this one down? Lulu will pop up. Slows are massive. Tibbers comes down as well. Can Lasagna keep his team alive? Here comes Belgian Beast. Flash from Lasagna. He's still trying to get out. The ulti coming across. Masterwork. One hit from Dead. Not quite gonna find it. But another kill picked up. 2 for 0 on this engage. BB. He's gonna kill the ward. All right, worth it.
Oh, super mega death rocket. It's not gonna hit.
Annie?
Oh, Annie!
Oh, close one.
No Kha'Zix.
Neither of them.
It's a good thing Tibbers can't be hit by that. It only hits champions.
Yeah, would have killed him. That would have been enough to kill him. Belgian Beast pushed down under his turret. BB doing decidedly better in his lane, though not roaming nearly as well as his lane opponent.
Top lane's been pretty quiet, considering that they, in comparison to other lanes.
Yeah, I suppose.
Because they built a lot of damage here, but Carbonite, his focus has been bottom. Lasagna, same thing. It was a good gank there. I saw him set up with the Void Assault, using his ultimate to close the distance, kind of like a Wukong decoy, where you're cloaked, then jumping in, and then you're right on top. And oh, sending a message. It's not about getting the damage, it's about sending the message. I know you're there.
Still got the damage, though. Not gonna lie. Wards here gonna spot both teams. They both know each other's plans. A lot of Trinket Ward being used. We'll see if Insomniac can do much. Nice spell shield. Good reflexes there.
Top laner's coming down, too.
Has to shield himself. That's gonna be on cooldown and doesn't block almost any damage. Satchel charge still there. Carbonate looking around. There's another ward coming down. You got Steve on one side, Morsu on the other. 3 versus 3. The duo lane of Insomniac is coming towards the mid lane as well. Smite battle gonna get picked up by Lasagna. That's 2 good smites in a row now for him in the mid lane. Now under siege. Riddick's putting some good damage. Of course, the turret on the bottom lane they're left alone. Ooh, nice knockback. Riddick's not in the best spot.
Bottom turret's going to take a lot of damage because it's a 5-man mid push by Insomniac. They want this turret to respond because they're most likely going to lose bottom. The wave clear.
Slightly early Ziggs bomb though. There's still a couple minions left to tank this up. It's going to be enough to get the turret down. Insomniac going to disengage from the mid lane.
Very close to getting this bottom lane turret and actually trading. But mid lane turret is even more of an advantage, especially since they had so many people around it. It's worth more gold. And now they're going to go back to their lanes. And it was just a nice rotation there and just a reset by Insomniac as well.
It's working pretty nicely for these guys. So, 200 gold separates these teams 15 minutes in. Ravenous Hydra, Lee Sin in the top lane, holding on to some wards. Damage onto Steve, down to about 2/3. He cannot get any turret damage down, though, so he's just killing minions and then trading them back and forth. And you gotta hope for Morsu's sake that he'll be able to outscale Steve's Renekton, who had a very good game last time.
He doesn't care about this turret damage. He just goes straight in. He can safeguard it. And another thing, too, that got accomplished by Insomniac was they wrestled the blue buff out of Belgian Beast's hands.
That's true.
Which is big. He had to actually back there because he was out of mana and no longer had enough resource to wave clear.
What's interesting about that, actually, is that Carbonite did take the first and second blue buffs. So there's never been a blue buff on Belgian Beast so far this game. Carbonite took one. He got a Brutalizer for his trouble earlier on. Morsu puts a ward down.
Same build as last game.
Yes. Yeah, true. No, same build as last game. We'll see if he goes for Black Cleaver into Randuin's into Trinity Force. Then it will be really the same.
But Lasagna gets the Aegis.
Yes, he does. Okay, so AoE Magic Resist, which is going to help against Annie and Zig. That's kind of it. See if it's enough for his team. Likely to go lock it next. See if the frontline Nocturne will do well. Of course, Morsu on Lee Sin. You know, you mentioned him as kind of a Zion Spartan-like character.
Yeah, he's a new guy too.
Yeah, he's a new guy.
Who had to replace a sub for the person they were using previously. And he's stepping up to the plate.
Quite nicely. I want to see though what he can do with the end game, because last Lee Sin Zion Spartan we saw, he went like 8-0 and something, and it was crazy. Masterwork not in a good spot. Timber's not going to hit him. Ults himself, and there comes the engage. Nocturne is around Matroko, flashing towards the back, but has nowhere to go. Trade kills back and forth. Lasagna not in a good spot. Carbonite wastes his reset though. Yarrow will go down. Riddick's, can he win the battle 1v1? The W gets dodged. Riddick's comes up huge right there. Triple kill. Looks for Belgian Beast. Shockwave gonna land, but they're not both on the same page. They're gonna go in now. Ziggs ulti comes across, kill picked up by BB. A 4-for-2 battle on this bottom side of the map. Big for Insomniac.
That was so well played. Now they're going to get a turret for it. BB, the rotation, spot on. And it's funny because we can say BB and it could be Belgian Beast, because it's BB or BB. Just a little bit aside. The Dragon is live too. No junglers in the area. So Insomniac, they'll also get this for themselves. And we saw Proxy coming out there from Morsu, just getting the waves in between turrets so that he can go ahead and come mid, clear more, and make Renekton's life a little harder.
Very efficient play there by Insomniac. That was definitely a lot of great moves. No push going to be available here for Steve for a while. Still sitting on this just the Tiamat. He's got to wait a little while. 3,500 gold separates these guys. Morsu. Back to the top lane. Lasagna happy to clear this one out. Merc treads in his near future. Looks like Phantom Dancer to be done soon for Riddick's.
Yeah, and I do have to give a shout out to Lasagna for the previous Paranoia in the bush.
Yeah.
We saw Matroko chasing down Masterwork, and if you use your Paranoia, you deny all vision, including wards. So he had to face check the bush straight into a Lulu that had already wild growthed himself, and there was a Nocturne right on top of it as well.
Yeah.
Put Matroko completely out of position, and then it was just reset after reset there for Jinx to go ahead and just reposition herself and get out of Carbonite's grasp.
Yep, and it's worth pointing out, he did win the duel against the Assassin Jungler. Dodged a W, did the damage. Carbonite showing up top this time around. Looks like Morsu wasn't around to defend that. He's grabbed an early Last Whisper. Morsu wants to kill these frontliners. He wants to just deal as much damage as possible. We'll see if he can do it, but this is an aggressive Lee Sin, and he's going to have to survive team fights.
They engage on this. Lasagna's also in the area.
Masterwork's okay. Whimsy and the shield going to get him out of this one. But it looks like Osomniac looking very aggressive now. 9-7. They're going to find Yero right there in the front lines. Aegis is done. Spell Shield comes across. Goes for the Fear Tether. Going to find that on Yero. Turns him back into the zap. Damage coming across. Timbers comes down, but it's not going to be a stun. The damage comes through. Riddick's on a rampage now. That's 4 in a row. Matroko, not a good spot. Dodges the rocket. Riddick needs a Lulu ult to stay alive. Belgian Beast dodges enough of the damage there. Q comes down as well. Flashed by Riddick's. No summoners left on this AD carry.
Carbonite coming around the side. They do see him with the ward, though. Lasagna's waiting.
There he goes. Puts the spell shield down right early on. The leap's going to get him out of range. Pops the ult to try to haste away from this one. Carbonite a little bit low. The shutdown comes across on towards Riddick. Now Lasagna ultimately comes in for Carbonite. Can Carbonite live? No, he won't. Lasagna gets the dueling kill on the enemy jungler. 11-8 now. Hectic game.
And he completed his locket and was using it there for a little bit of an extra shield. And here comes the harassment. He gets the blue away.
Morsu wearing a 2-level lead and a blue buff. Fighting up against the Sunfire Cape Renekton. Steve's armor not likely to matter much, though he's already fighting a Last Whisper. Lasagna 10-11 now. Looking very good.
2-level advantage here in the top lane for Lee Sin. And Belgian Beast has not gotten a blue this game.
Still not.
Sad Ziggs.
And yet he's still 164 CS, 2-1-1. So Belgian Beast performing fairly well without those buffs, but of course, slower than last game. Certainly not quite the same performance on Ziggs just yet.
Yeah, and a 4K gold lead, well, about 3K gold lead coming out here for Osomniac. So nobody's really bust this game wide open.
True.
Dragon's
isn't
going over to Osomniac. Exactly. There's no Draven. No Draven to cash in all these huge stacks on. And the bottom lane has just been a bloodbath. We look at Riddick's. He's 5, 4, and 4. Yeah. Died the most, but the most kills. And then we look over at Matroko, pretty much a mirror of his Lucian game last time. Nothing spectacular, and he's just holding on. But these junglers, Carbonite and Lasagna, that's really the story here, is how much blood can they spill on this map early and create an advantage for their team. And Morsu,
he's going to find Yero, waiting for the flash over the wall. He's not going to need it. There comes the Q at the last second, 220 gold for that kill. And poor Yero picked on 1, 4, and 5 this game. Osomniac now with a power play.
Going for this mid lane.
Ooh, no shockwave going to land there, but they're still going to look for the mid lane turret.
Morsu's just in bullying lanes, going after Belgian.
Oh my gosh, the damage comes through. Morsu finds it. Shield comes in from Lasagna on the backside. Can he get away? Looks like yes. It's going to be a distance slowing down Steve. Carbonite on the wings. He sees low health targets. Will he go in? A little bit of damage coming across.
He sees low health targets, but Wild Growth is still available. If he jumps in, it'll be a bait.
Yeah, that would be terrible. You're absolutely right. Masterwork actually works very well against Kha'Zix. Did you know you can stop Leap's damage by knocking him up with a Lulu ulti? If he's not landed yet, and you land the knockup,
I did know that.
Leap damage.
And I cry every time.
Well, I don't play jungle Kha'Zix, so I don't.
I do. And it
Well,
hurts.
shame on you.
Because not only do you not do your damage, you have to—
Oh, no,
no,
he's
he's
the
going!
two people, not going to have enough damage. Goodbye, Carbonite trying too hard to make plays.
There's a little desperation there. Like you see low health targets, you want to chase them into some brush.
Hey, if you get it, you look cool.
Yeah. And Osomniac, they've just been doing a great job of grouping up. And Yero, he's got Flash, he's got Tibbers.
That's the damage onto BB, and BB, oh, wow, look at the shields coming out, keeping him alive. The Ascension trying to get him down. Look at the AoE damage. Belgian Beast will fall. Can Osomniac keep going? Matroko got rooted up in place. Flash away with the Ignite on him. Riddick's not in a good spot. He's going to go down. Steve will not trade his life, though, unless BB can chase one. Nice Glitter Lance. The flash from Steve keeps him alive, though. Ooh.
It's a really good shockwave to suck in 3 people there and line up the Super Mega Death Rocket right on top of them. BB having a much higher impact this game than he was last.
1-0 and 2, just enough there. Death Cap done. Mid laners mirroring their builds. Mid lane tier 2 turret going to be taking damage. Morsu also gigantic. 4-0-0. 2 completed items. Carbonite doesn't want to fight him. He's dead. Yeah.
And
don't do that against AD Lee Sin.
He's dead.
Yeah. This is why I love AD Lee Sin.
It's very risky, though.
But it's so fun.
It's so flashy as well.
It's true.
Most Lee Sin montages you see will either be a very tanky Lee Sin doing an insect play, or it's a full AD Lee Sin
two-shotting people.
Two-shotting people with a kick.
It's wonderful.
He does so much damage. His scaling is fantastic.
Awesome. It's awesome.
And it'll apply to both applications of Q. so you get even more out of it.
You get a 1 AD ratio on Q. I think it's 2 or 2.5 on R.
Yeah.
It's glorious.
It's ridiculous.
It's just amazing. And not to mention, of course, the Hydra active also is a 1.0 total AD ratio. So, yeah, painful stuff. 5-0-0 Lee Sin. I gotta say, I was like, all right, if Morsu can do it, and yes, he can.
And especially against a squishy jungler like Carbonite.
Yeah, just destroys
Kha'Zix,
him.
He has no defensive item at all. Not even his boots will help him in this situation. Just relying on the base stats.
They're not high enough.
Runes.
He's level 13. Morsu's 16. Morsu's 2 levels above anyone else in the game.
Yes. And sometimes you'll see that out of top laners who are just completely dominant. That's because he's going into the jungle and just bossing Steve around. And if you look at this, Steve is the same level as the ADC of Osomniac's Riddix.
Yep. 14-14. Riddix tied for 2nd place with a lot of other people on his team. BB among them.
This mid lane matchup too, Belgian Beast has been kept down. He's a level under Riddix too.
Blue buff steal, smited away by Lasagna. He's got an enemy team to look out for though. Lucian on the other side. There comes the CC onto Masterwork. Pops the ulti onto himself. Carbonite on the chase. Matroko around there as well. Culling coming across. Decent damage. Masterwork trying to run away with Whimsy on 2-man Glitterlance. The shield as well from Lasagna. They're going to be safe. Bottom lane still getting pushed though. Morsu just making things happen completely.
Meanwhile, in Lee Sin land.
Yep. Down to the inhibitor as well. The team has to react to this or they will lose the inhibitor. Riddix sees the arrow. He's going to back off a little bit though. Gets stunned out. This could be bad for the AD carry. Flashed away. Doesn't take too much damage from Carbonite. There comes the Nocturne ulti. Finds Carbonite whose leaf is down so he has to flash. It's going to be Tibbers probably going down. Steve not going to do well against Morsu though. Pops the ulti. I don't think he cares too much though. Kick in. Dang! Down he goes. Now there's Matroko and Belgian Beast. Morsu has flash. He's going to do that. Jump to a ward. Taking more damage. He's got himself away though.
They're pinging for Baron for Osomniac. They're just going to turn on this because so much attention was put onto Morsu and that deadly Lee Sin. He got the turret. Now he's causing 3 people to deal with him. They're going to get a Baron here with maybe only a Ziggs bomb to contest.
Well, we'll see if he can do it. He has Death Cap and Athene's. Bomb comes down a little bit too early. Picked up. Zanya smites late. It gets picked up by the AD carry. Good enough though. Osomniac with Baron now and a big lead.
Morsu back to full HP already. He was half before. Carbonite's here to deal with him. His ultimate is not up.
Oh my gosh, the damage now. Carbonite not in the best spot. Stun's coming across. Can Carbonite die? 1 hit to go. Yarrow jumps to a ward, finds that one. Does not land the Q on Matroko. Flash the way. He's still trying to run. Yarrow a couple spells away from a stun. Morsu shields up in 2 seconds. Not going to matter. Shutdown goes to Matroko. But you know what? Overall worth it for Morsu.
Oh yeah, he got that bottom turret. He got a lot of pressure for his team. They get a Baron. And now that open inhibitor is a lot of threat and potential. And the bottom inhibitor, I would argue, is probably one of the... It is actually the best inhibitor to get.
Yeah.
Complete opposite of Baron. And the fact that those super minions, if they make it to the Nexus, they will only be focusing that bottom turret. If you get the middle inhibitor, they'll kind of split and go after both Nexus turrets. Whereas this one, just that little intricacy is just so good. So it's just very minute, but it is the best one.
Yeah.
And he's going to continue to split push, I assume. Or group up and just pick off squishies.
Not to mention, we're kind of thinking about what happens when you push a turret from the side. The caster minions also won't be hit by that second turret. So once you're down to only caster minions, they're actually only getting hit by one of them. Just more damage comes through. See how it pans out. Osomniac wearing Baron buff. I want to say, by the way, Morsu added a Bloodthirster, Merc Treads, and Brutalizer after he died.
I'm shaking my head right now. It looks so dirty.
It's awesome.
You get to some... Like, look at Matroko's HP bar. He's got, what, 1,600?
About 1675, I believe.
Yeah, that's a Q, a kick, a Q, an auto attack, Ravenous Hydra, you're dead.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
And then you can safeguard out.
I want to point out some of the skill builds, by the way. So Morsu, I only saw it level 17, but he had only 4 points in his Q. So he didn't max it first. He might have had 4 points early or 3 points early, but maxed it by the end last. The Nocturne here for Lasagna maxed his spell shield second. He actually left his Fear Tether at 1 point. Lasagna Carbonite into a battle right here. Fear's not going to land. Carbonite walks himself away from this one.
Yeah, and Lasagna's been using that shield really well.
Yeah, he has.
So the Unspeakable Horror, just lining that up with people, getting the Fear and blocking the anti-stun. I think is his biggest objective here. But in the bottom, Morsu's going to push this as his team gets a turret. And this is the 2-pronged pressure.
It's a very big prong here, though, Morsu. I feel like he can take on almost any 2 guys that he wants.
It's not a prong, he's like a giant spear, like a harpoon.
One spear, one prong. That's the attack right here.
Yep.
Harpoon and prong attack. Going in Morsu and Lasagna now in the bottom lane. So 2 guys here. Julian's and Matroko. He's going to be afraid of this one. Inhibitor down to about 1/3. Morsu getting jumped on. Shield goes on. Has to jump away from this one. The jump going to come in now from Lasagna, though. Shockwave's going to land onto 2. Matroko flashing away. Takes the Jinx onto the face. Down he goes. 2 for 0 so far. Steve under fire. Picked up there by Morsu as well. Gigantic fight. 3 for 0.
They get the inhibitor for themselves. Mid lane. Nobody really tanky enough, but they're going to go ahead.
Try anyway.
Yeah, they're going to do it anyway because they have the AD from Lee Sin. It's no problem at all. The reset.
One more hit, takes him down. Belgian Beast drops through the ulti onto Riddick as well. Ace coming through, 20 seconds on the respawns. This is going to be almost surely a Somniac's game. Inhibitor number 1, inhibitor number 2 have fallen. Waiting now for a minion wave to take down the next if they can. The minions down on the bottom side, and here they go for the game-winning push if they can have it. The respawns are coming in from Steve Bakes Cookies. Nexus under fire. Is this going to be enough damage? Somniac tying it back 1-1 in the quarterfinals.
In a 30-minute game, doubling the kills of Steve Bakes Cookies, completely different than what we had seen previously, where it was a back and forth.
Yeah.
Morsu in the top lane.
Oh, man.
That was a very risky pick with the Lee Sin against a Renekton, who typically wins early game. Full damage. Not a single defensive item in his build. Just going for the throat. And it paid off for them.
Yeah.
It was very risky. They evened it up 1-1. And I love the Lulu pick against Carbonite's Kha'Zix, who was looking for resets and kills.
I mean, everything worked out so well. I think it really did hinge on the Lee Sin doing well. The rest of the game was very close, and you got to kind of be worried about what goes on there. But I agree with you, Morsu, gigantic that game. Full damage, survived. We're like, all right, Lulu Orianna, it was enough protection to keep him up in the team fights. The explosiveness just made it all happen. I just like games like that where you're like, yep, I took over the game. I did awesome. Put the team in my back. My backpack has enough room for 4 other dudes. And brought the game on home.
And it wasn't even like a team fight type of Lee Sin.
No.
Lasagna was setting up a lot of great ganks in the early game to get his bottom lane going.
Yeah.
And he was kind of the team fight pressure playmaker. Whereas Morsu's off in his own little Lee Sin land, just kicking people in the face, punching them, slamming the ground, and everybody's dead around him. And he's like, I'm helping. I'm getting all the objectives. And now the game, oh, look, guys, I opened up this inhibitor for you.
Yeah.
You can come whenever you want, and we can end the game.
And he got underestimated multiple times. Multiple 1v1 kills, someone defending and being like, oh, you do that much damage?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
And then once he's at that point where you can burst you, you've already given up another kill to him, and then he's just even stronger the next time you meet him, and it's just perpetuating this deadly Lee Sin.
It's painful. So, well done to Morsu, guys. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's going to be the 3rd and final game between Somniac and Steve Bakes Cookies. 2014 European Challenger Series will be right back.